G'day guys, Luke here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are doing the Reptile update for August 2026. Starting off with these two cheeky war dragons in front of us. Their names are Tinsel and Bell. Born on Christmas Day and Boxing Day last year, so both are doing very well, smashing crickets. Sooner or later, I will introduce them to wet dog food, and hopefully I'll get them on that rather than getting crickets every week. Handling, we're still working on as they're still babies, but since I hatched them out here, they'll only see my face really. So hopefully they'll be easier to train compared to Akko and the other war dragons you'll see later in the video. For now, they are still housed in their 50 centimeter enclosure, and then eventually as they get bigger, they'll be slowly upgraded to the point they will go outside in their own enclosure. So for now, they've got coconut fibre as a substrate, 2 hides, water bowl, bit of driftwood in there for them to sit on, a bendy vine, backing, a UVB light bar, and they just get heat from pretty much Blaine from underneath, so I'm not too worried about heating at this stage. When I go to the next size cage, I will put a proper heat light in there for them. On the same shelf as Tinsel and Bell, we have Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth here is one of 10 geo skinks we have in the family. We get to all those guys later. She's just over here by herself. Now, for Elizabeth here, I don't see her all too much. She often comes out in the afternoon, has a bit of a feed, has a bit of a walk around, and she goes back into one of her hides. But she's doing well. She's still quite a healthy she-oak, and that's all I can ask for. Regarding to the she-oak skink setup, so 7 of them are housed separately, while 3 of them are housed together in a 50 centimeter enclosure. The ones they house individually, they're housed in these 30 centimeter enclosures. With all the enclosures, they do have coconut fibre as a substrate, as well as sphagnum moss they do wet down. As I have noticed, this species likes somewhere cool to retreat to. Water bowl, bark, a hide. They have that LED light bar on their shelves, as well as they have heat of some kind. So in the case of Elizabeth here, she shares a heat pad with Suey, while the other she-oaks have a heat cord that runs pretty much through the whole entire shelf. As I just stated, we do have Suey, who's our sand swimmer. Kind of funny here where she's giving a cricket a piggyback ride. She's probably saving it for later. For Suey here, I don't see her all too much as she is a nocturnal skink. So she'll come out, hunt during the night, then during the day she's in the sand. But apart from that, as you can see, she's happy and healthy. Suey is also housed in a 50 centimeter enclosure. It's just on the side here. So we're going to her setup. We have sand as a substrate, about 2-3 inches worth, so that way she can burrow through it. She has a heat pad that she shares with Elizabeth, 2 proper hides, a water bowl, fake plant, a bit of bark in there too, a backing, and she gets a little bit of light from the UVB just off to the right hand side there. Currently going through their shed cycle, we have Blaine. Now Blaine here is a lowland blotched blue tongue. Now I do believe she's a runt because she hasn't gotten, massive compared to Bo and Billy, who you'll see in a minute. Blaine here is a very shy blue tongue. She'll come out often either early morning or late afternoon, or if there's nobody home during the day, she'll come out, destroy her cage, and then you go, what happened? And then here she is asleep in her hide. But she's doing fine. Blaine is housed in a 90 centimeter enclosure. In her enclosure, we do have that reptile hemp as a substrate, feed bowl, water bowl, 2 hides. Now the hide on the left hand side there has a ramp going on top of it, so Blaine can sit up a bit high if she likes. Backing her UVB. Now the heat pad's underneath the enclosure on the left hand side, so the warm hide is the left hand side one, and the right hand side is the cool hide. Up next we do have a pair of 120 centimeter enclosures to go through. They house my 2 eastern blue tongue skinks, Bo and Billy. So Bo is housed on the top, Billy's on the bottom. Now both setups are quite identical, so they've got the hemp substrate, a hide, a rock to help with their nails, feed bowl, water bowl, backing, LED UVB light bar. The only difference between these 2 enclosures is that Billy has a heat pad on her enclosure, while Bo, we have a heat element with his enclosure. Here we have Bo. He's our 15-year-old boy, so he's getting up there with age, but he hasn't slowed down that much. Normally, Bo here is a very cool, calm, collected blue tongue. However, when he's warmed up and motivated, he does destroy his enclosure, very much like Billy. So I don't know who's worse, as sometimes I'll come home and it looks like a tornado has gone through both enclosures, but reality is, it's the blue tongues decided to be destructive. Speaking of Billy, here she is. Looks like she's coming up to her shed because she looks quite milky. Now with Billy here, she had a rough start to her life being the runt and having half a tail missing and having pretty much no fat reserves on her. But after being TLC, she's thrived. As you can see, she's a big girl, doing exceptionally well, and she can be quite shy at times, but very naughty. Moving over to little Aurora, well, she's not so little anymore, but she's still got a bit of growing to do. She is exceeding expectations, she's smashing food, and overall, I've just got no complaints about her. She's been very bulletproof at the moment, which has been great. As you know, when a snake is doing well, you must be doing something right. So Rory here is still housed in a 60-centimeter enclosure. In her enclosure, I've got her substrate, her hide. So there's a heat pad underneath the enclosure where the hide is. Water bowl, branches she can climb up and perch on if she wanted to. However, she's starting to move those around as she likes. She's got a backing and a UVB light bar, as diamond pythons do require UVB. Eventually, she'll be another animal that will go outside as well, but in her own separate enclosure. Moving up to Pedro, who is our pink-tongued skink. He's another secretive little guy in the family. So during the day, he will sleep, doesn't do much. But when night time comes around, especially the dead of night, he'll come out, get his steps in for the day. He might have some food here and there. He's not a really big eater. And then he'll go back into a hide where he will sleep for the following day. When I get him out, he's not too happy to see me, but I've got to make sure he's okay. But as you can see right here, he's pretty healthy. Pedro is also housed in a 60-centimeter enclosure. In his enclosure, we do have that reptile hemp as a substrate, sphagnum moss in there, as he does like to burrow as well, as he is related to the she-oak skinks. 2 hides on the ground, food bowl, water bowl, a branch, a couple of fake plants in there, a backing that we'll incorporate the hide into, so there's got an additional hiding spot there, a bit of heat there just to keep the chill off. Unfortunately, his light did die recently, so I'm trying to get a new one for him. But apart from that, I think he prefers the darkness anyway. Another 60-centimeter enclosure to go through, this time housing my Gigi skink Thumper, you'll see pop out in a minute. So with his setup, we've got sands as a substrate, food bowl, water bowl, a fake rock stack that he likes to kind of wedge himself into, as he's technically a part of the Cunningham family. There's a mushroom ornament in there to decorate his cage a bit, backing, heat, and his LED UVB light bar. And here he is now, just popping out to say g'day. Thumper decided to emerge on his own for once, which is quite cool, probably because his personality has changed slightly. Beforehand, he used to be quite a shy, docile little Gigi skink. Now, the last few months, he's kind of become a bit more of an aggressive young male. I don't know if it's because he's just, territorial, or the fact he doesn't like me anymore. I'm not too sure what I've done to really upset him, but every time I go into his enclosure to do anything really, he comes out and wants to bite me. When it comes to anybody else, no, he's fine. When it comes to me, no, just hates my guts now. So, what's wrong, Thumper? Tell me, what have I done? Across the lizard room, we do have Dusty. Now, Dusty here is a black-headed monitor. Now, when it comes to my presence, if I'm in the room doing my own thing, he will now sit under the heat light or UVB, depending on the day. But as soon as I open up the door to do anything, he gets really on edge. If I get too close, he will run to the closest hide to him. Some days he will take fuzzy mice off me, other days not really. With the superworms, I have to leave it in his food bowl for him to eat. He won't take them off the tongs, but that's okay. It's a slow progress, and hopefully in time we get much better connection. Dusty is housed in a 140-centimeter enclosure. In his enclosure, we do have a sand as his substrate. He's got his fake plant, croc skull, food bowl, water bowl, 4 hides in there. So there's 2 on the ground there, then 2 hollow logs he can retreat into. Got his branches where he can do some acrobatics, because he's a bit of a Fruit Loop. He's got his backing, heat, and his UVB. Below Dusty, we have the diva of the Reptile room. This is Akko. Now, Akko, he's a female Eastern War Dragon. She's a very special girl to us, so she does get special treatment. So, Akko here, she's doing very well. Being a War Dragon, she does have her off days, as that's quite typical for War Dragons to be very shy and skittish. But over the years, Akko and I have developed a very strong bond, which you don't really see often in the reptile hobby. Our beautiful girl is housed in a 140-centimeter enclosure also. We kept things quite simple because she's getting quite old and she's scared us a couple of times, so we don't want her to have an accident and lose her too soon. So with her setup, we've got coconut fibre as a substrate, got a hide, a couple of branches in here she can sit on sometimes. Her log, she loves to bask on that of a morning. Got a food bowl, water bowl, her diva sign, a fake plant, a couple of rocks there to help her get in and out of a water bowl. It's a shallow water bowl so she can't drown. I know it sounds crazy, but she almost drowned in her last pond. Got a backing, heat, and UVB. On the bottom shelf on this shelving unit, we do have another 120-centimeter enclosure to go through. This time housing my 2 shinglebacks, Monty and Anastasia. Being ground lizards, of course, we kept this enclosure quite simple, so we've got more floor space. So 2 hides, food bowl, water bowl, and reptile hemp as a substrate, backing, heat, and UVB. We'll drop in and say g'day to Monty first. So Monty here is a male shingleback. He's the shy one of the 2. So with Monty here, he's taking a bit of a nap under the heat. Can't blame him, as today was a bit cool, so I would have done the same thing if I were him. So with Monty, the only one who gets really close to him will be Anastasia. He is a bit shy when it comes to human interactions, but as you can see, he's still a chunky boy. Here's his beautiful girlfriend Anastasia that I felt bad waking up for her little nap also. With Anastasia here, she is very accepting of humans. She'll often come over and get little head scratches from me, or sometimes she'll just kind of sleep with Monty. But I guess today she's kind of in a borrowing mood. As you can see, she buried herself in the substrate. But as well, she's a very thick girl, so both shinglebacks are doing okay. On to our two tiniest residents in the family. Their names are Charcoal and Luna. They are our spine-tailed geckos. So Charcoal, our boy, is housed in the left-hand side enclosure, while Luna, our girl, is on the right. So with both of their setups, they're pretty much in their 30 by 20 centimeter acrylic tubs. Sand as a substrate, a water bowl, a hide for Luna, two hides for Charcoal, because he is quite a shy boy. They like their branches, so we chuck a couple in there for them. And Luna has a fake plant in there just to decorate her enclosure a bit more. But onto the geckos themselves. This is Charcoal. Now I feel bad for Charcoal because every time I go check up on him, I give him a heart attack. He's a very shy boy, so oftentimes I just leave him be. And I throw food in there, it disappears. And every now and again, like today, I'll check on him to make sure he's doing fine. He's still healthy, still going strong. And later on, I'll probably put him with Luna and see if we get any more babies from these two. Unlike Charcoal, Luna here is a very easygoing gecko, a sweetheart. I handle her a lot more compared to Charcoal because, like I said, Charcoal stresses out quite easily. With Luna, she's okay. She often lets me know when she's not happy by secreting this substance from her tail and tell me it's sticky, it stinks, and it's annoying to get off. So I know when I annoyed her is when she releases that stuff onto me. So apart from that, smash his food as always, and still a lovely girl. Time to do a bit of rapid fire. So the two top enclosures on the shelving unit here, those are 60 centimeter enclosures. In those enclosures we've got Meatlug and Toothless. So Meatlug is housed on the left, while Toothless is on the right. With their setup, we've got their bedding, a hide, a fake rock sack that is an additional hiding area for the Cunninghams. Food bowl, water bowl. We've got a backing on the outside of the enclosures just to set off the enclosures. The LED UV light bars on top, and in the middle of the two cages they've got a heat pad that they share, so they've got heat both day and night. The shelf underneath them, that's pretty much the she oak shelf. So the 6 black enclosures that you see there house one she oak skink, and those are 30 centimeter enclosures. The bigger one there is a 50 centimeter one that houses a trio of she oak skinks. Won't go too much into their setups as they are identical to Elizabeth. Here is Meatlug. Now, Meatlug here is not a very shy, he's a very shy Cunningham skink, sorry. He doesn't like me whatsoever, and every time I'm trying to get a nice photo of him, he runs and hide underneath his fake rock stack, and if I were to get him out, he will bite me. So, he's not really a friendly Cunningham. Unlike Meatlug, Toothless he's an absolute sweetheart. I can get him out, hold him, and majority of the time he's well behaved. However, when he's had enough of me mucking around with him, you give me a slight little nip as if, oh, okay, you want to be put back home, as he's had enough. So I suppose he's had his own ways of letting me know to bugger off. On to the she-oaks, and the second one we're saying hello to is Callisto. Now, Callisto hides a fair bit, however, when I do get him out, he's pretty easygoing, doesn't cause me too much trouble, and I do find out of the lot, he's probably the most prettiest one that we have. Next to Callisto, we do have Pearl. Now, Pearl got into a fight with Jack a long time ago, so she's missing a little bit of a tail, but slowly growing back. She's one of the smallest she-oaks that we have, but with Pearl here, when it comes to feeding day, she'll come out from wherever she's hiding, and she'll actively reach up to the food bowl as I'm putting it in. So she really likes her food, but she's just on the smaller side, but she's another easygoing she-oak. We're going to the trio now, and the first one we're dropping into, this is Ghost. Now Ghost here just straight up hates my guts. He will actively bite me, and he will throw a tantrum basically if I disturb him. But today I think I caught him on the chiller side, and let's leave it at that, because if I were to annoy him too much, then he goes all psycho on me. Here's one of the other cage mates to Ghost. So this is Gum. Now with Gum, he's got a very different colour palette compared to the rest of the she-oaks that we have. With Gum, he's much more easier to deal with compared to Ghost. The only thing that Gum does here is when I do handle him, he does pee and poo on me. However, with Ghost, he will bite, poo, pee, do whatever he can to get me away from him. Then our last little guy here is Jara. Jara by far is the easiest going, can handle him with no issue whatsoever. Yeah, he's the most secretive one out of the bunch. Don't see Jara all that much. Moving down to Will. Now, Will here is a very adventurous spirit. He was always out and about looking for ways to get out and I guess explore. When I do get him out, he likes to take off. So he's pretty quick for a she-oak. Next to Will, we've got Jack. Jack is a cool fellow. However, he does bite, but he's not as violent as Ghost is. So I'm guessing Jack is the next coming Ghost. Hopefully he doesn't become as psycho as Ghost. But overall, he's a good boy. Then we have Davey. Now, Davey, he is a food lizard. He loves his dog food, which is what I mostly feed the she-oaks. And every time I put it in, it's gone within probably 10-20 minutes. Then the rest of the day, this is what Davey does, just sleeps. To be fair, after a good meal, I will sleep it off too. Our last little she-oak we got here is Barbosa. Now, Barbosa is very similar to Joe, where he's quite shy. But Barbosa, he likes to tunnel. So typically when I go in to check on him, I have to dig around to find where he is. And sometimes there's a little game of peekaboo. He might pop up, then he goes, oh, you're there, back on the go. And I have to make sure he's completely fine by pulling him out. But you can see, he's happy, he's healthy, which is the main thing. Time to head out to check out the outdoor enclosure. So this is my Gibson War Dragon enclosure. 180 centimeters long by 90 by 90 centimeters. With the actual framework of the enclosure, it's aluminium tubing, there's metal sheets and form ply to make the rest of the panels as well as suitable mesh, so these guys can't nose rub as well get out through the wire. There's also a shade cloth over the enclosure just to provide some shade to avoid a very hot part of the day. Here's a closer look of the enclosure on the inside. So in the back corner there, we do have a hot box. Even though these guys are down south here in Australia, they're getting old and I want to provide a bit more comfort for these guys during the winter period. So there's a hot box. Other than that, during the summertime, the heating will be off because they won't need it then. On a hot day, I'll bring them inside, keep them cool, as it's pretty important not to overheat your reptiles. Apart from that, they do have a backing, hammock, branches for them to bask on, sensor substrate, multiple hides in there to get out of sight basically, and a decent sized pond in there from the soak in and swim around a little bit, which is also heated for the winter period. The first two we drop in and say g'day to are Bruce and Jade. Now Bruce there in the back there, he's our big dominant male, does not like me whatsoever. Normally when he sees me, he'll run and hide, and if I were to pick him up, he will try to bite me. So it's nice for once for him to be on top of the hot box, allowing me to get some footage of him without him being too stressed out. Jade in front of him is a very confident female. She's pretty much one of the only two girls that will stay out every time I approach the enclosure, and she'll just watch me. If I get too close, she might sidestep me or sometimes even walk away from me. She's not as scared of me compared to the others. Here are two of the other girls here. So the big one you see, that's Shigo. She's a big buffy girl. Now with Shigo, she's slowly warming up to me. Beforehand, she used to be quite shy and skittish, but now she's getting a bit more confident around me and noticing I'm not as much of a threat, and I provide her food. So it's a win-win situation. Lime there, she's a smaller girl. Now she's actually the mum to Tinsel and Belle that we have. She used to be the most confident one, but lately she's been a little bit more shy, probably because of it being winter or one day I accidentally scared her pretty badly. So hopefully I can regain the trust with her. But apart from that, both girls have been just hunkering in this hide of theirs to wait out the winter period. Here's a closer look on the inside of the hot box. Nothing too fancy, just another hide to add more security for the war dragons, a heat element and a basket just to protect the war dragons from being burnt. And here's Gamora. She's our last female to cover off in this enclosure. Now with Gamora, Lime and Jade, since they're all pretty much the same size, it's hard to tell who's who sometimes, so I have to really look to see who it is. But with Gamora here, she's the most skittish war dragon that we have. I can't get too close to her before she will dart off to the closest hide that there is. But we're slowly getting there. We'll work with her, and hopefully one day all 5 Gibson war dragons become just as friendly as Akko is, for example. Back inside to the snake room, and we'll be going with the brown tree snakes first. So Willow and Diablo are housed in their own 70-centimeter enclosure. In their enclosures, we do have the bedding, hides on the ground. So there's a cool hide and a warm hide, as there's a hip pad to one end of the enclosures. Water bowl, fake plants, branches for these guys to climb on. And within the enclosures, I've made a backing incorporating a cave system. As out in the wild, you sometimes find brown tree snakes in the sandstone cave region. And there's a light strip that they share with pretty much half the room. Here is Willow. Now Willow here is a female brown tree snake. Compared to Diablo, she's quite defensive and quite shy. And sometimes if I accidentally scare her, she goes into that defense posture and will actively strike at the glass. When I get out of the enclosure, she's not too bad. A little bit flighty, but she's not as bad as what she once was. Just need to stop her from striking the glass and hurting her poor little face. Diablo here is a polar opposite to Willow, so with Diablo I can get him out, hold him, pretty much pass him to any friend or family member that come over, as I trust him enough he wouldn't bite them. He's a very handsome boy, as you can see. He's more of that classic brown with the black striping. I think Willow's going to a shed, so she's looking a bit on the dollar side. But Diablo here, no issues whatsoever. He'll eat all year round. Compared to Willow, she won't eat through the warmer months of the year. The next shelf down underneath Willow and Diablo, we've got a pair of 67 enclosures. The one on the left hand side houses Caesar. He's a male blonde-spotted python. The one on the right hand side, his name is Valentino. He's a young male children python. Now their setups are pretty much identical. We do have the aspen banister substrate, water bowl, a hide. We've got fake plants, a couple of rocks in the enclosures as well. With both enclosures, they've got heat pads, the share backing, and a light strip that is separate from Willow and Diablo. For once, Caesar is out and about. Typically, he'd be in his hide, tucked away, feeling a bit more secure. As he's a very shy male, when I do get him out, he's not too bad. It's just in the cage, he's very camera shy. This time of year, though, he is off food, so he's not that keen on feeding. However, he's probably keen on mating, but we don't really have a girl for him, sadly. Valentino here is a very cheeky male. Kind of takes after his father in a way where he likes to set up ambushes and gives me a hard time. When I do feed him, he does go to that silly snake syndrome where he'll let go of the rat and try and figure out where the head is. And sometimes he's trying to eat it, the other end first. And I have to point the head so he'll eat it properly. But apart from that, he's doing exceptionally well. And he's getting quite thick. He's definitely taking after his father in that department. On the bottom, we do have a 127 enclosure that has as my rich Tamona Roseu. Now, with his setup, we've got sandy substrate, water bowl, fake plants. Now, the hide on the right hand side there, I fill up with some sand. It went it down, so he's got somewhere more humid to go and retreat to, plus somewhere where he can dig. We do have his branches that sometimes he likes to do a bit of acrobatics. He's got his fake rock stack as somewhere else he can hide into. He's got his heat and his UVB as well. Here is our little man, Roseu. Now, with Roseu here, I do believe he's a runt. He hasn't grown that much in the last couple of years. Saying that though, he's still healthy as. Smashes his crickets, he's eating his superworms, and he loves his pinky mice. So, no complaints on my end. He's just a unique little fellow. Someone who I haven't featured in a while is Boss. Can't remember the last time I actually put him in a video. He's our black Labrador. He'll be 2 years old this month actually. And as you can see, he's doing pretty well, and he's been very protective of the reptiles. Anyway, we'll get back on track. So we're going from our smallest monitor to our largest monitor. This is Ray. Now Ray here is a Rosenberg monitor, doing exceptionally well, smashing his rats every week. Now with Ray he's getting much better with handling. He still blows up like a balloon when I pick him up, but at least he's not trying to bite me anymore, which is a good thing. His outdoor enclosure is still under construction. I have found the right wire, just need to get it and install it basically, and hopefully as spring hits, he'll be out in his outdoor enclosure. His current enclosure is 180 centimeters long by 60 by 60. His outdoor enclosure will be 180 by 120 by 90, so pretty much double the size of what he's in at the moment. So for now, he's got his hide, his rocks, backing, heat, fake plant, sensor substrate, got his hammock, his favourite branch, and a water bowl. Basically for now, when he goes outside, we'll add a couple more things in his enclosure. Above Ray, in another 180 centimeter enclosure, we've got Chris, who is our black-headed python. Get to her in a minute. So with her setup, we've got two very large hides in here for her. Actually, it's a quite big snake. Got a bedding, a fake plant, heat, UVB. I just had an old UVB light laying around, so I thought, you know what, put it in, she can have it. Her branch that she will use from time to time, her water bowl, and her backing. To be honest, there's nothing to really report on Chris, apart from she's still eating, still being a very gentle girl. However, when you go to feed her, she's a different animal. She's probably pushing 8 feet in length, but she's still a very beautiful girl, and when you get her out, she's a big teddy bear. She weighs a fair bit though, probably about 5 kilos. That's right, pretty typical for a black-headed python. On the top shelf here, or pretty much on top of Chris's enclosure, we do have a 1 meter enclosure, so 100 centimeters. That houses a breeding pair of children pythons. Their names are Aaron and Emma. In their enclosure, we've got that reptile hen bedding, a water bowl, a fake rock stack with a hide in there, just so that way they've got somewhere else to hide, fake plants, hide underneath the heat there, so we've got a ceramic heat in there. The light strip that they share with Willow and Diablo are backing, and I just recently put a nest box in there for them, as I have seen these two lock up. So we're not too far away from getting eggs, hopefully. Here is our couple. Now, the one closest to us here, that's Emma. He's our male. After locking up with Aaron a couple times, he decided to eat quite recently. So hopefully that's a sign he's done his job regarding that area. Ever since then, he's been quite protective of Aaron. Every time I've gone in to check on them to make sure they're okay, he kind of positions himself between Aaron and I. In a way, I believe he's protecting her. So he's being a very good boyfriend in that regard. Aaron, she should pop her head out in a second, but she's a beautiful girl. There's been a couple of times where I have checked up on her to make sure she's okay. She's off food, so meaning she must be ovulating. And when I have picked her up, by the looks of it, she is starting to develop eggs. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some eggs later in the year and hopefully get babies from these two, as last year, Lady Luck was on our side. Just next to Aaron and Emma, we do have Graham. Now, Graham here is a female blonde-spotted python, but she's getting quite old, and I don't want to pair her up with Caesar, no offense to him. But with Graham here, you know, I don't want anything bad happening to her. Ever since we lost Superstar, she's been okay. For the first month or so, she was looking around trying to find her friend, but I think she realised what's happened. So since then, she's kind of figured things life on her own. She's gone off food quite recently, so to be fair, that's quite late for her to be off food this time of year. Apart from that, she's doing well. She's still quite healthy and still going strong. She'll be 17 at the end of the year. So she's now officially the oldest reptile that we have in the family. Graham is still housed in her 97 enclosure. That's something that will never change. It's what she's in now. So with her setup, we do have the substrate, water bowl, 3 hides, a branch, a rock, a bit of timber there to help shed her skin, fake plant, backing, a display light, and a heat element. Making our way to our last shelving unit that has 2 127 enclosures. We start off with this one here. So this is my breeding pair of central carpet pythons. Their names are Chappie and Orchid. So with their setup, we've got Daspan bedding, water bowl, and next box that are left in there as Chappie and Orchid like to sit on top of that. A couple of branches they can use for exercise. We've got the fake plants, another hide on the left hand side there, a display light, and a heat element. Here is Chappie. He's our boy. He's doing pretty good. Now, last time I went to feed him, he wasn't interested in food. However, I'm happy to say he's been eating more consistent as of late, which is a good thing, as I want him to bulk up and I guess get some weight back on. Because going off food for 14 months took a big toll on him. But seeing him eating again is great to see. Orchid, Chappie's beautiful girlfriend, is doing exceptionally well. Still a very beautiful natured snake. Get her out, she's easygoing. When it comes to feeding, she'll just take the food and ask questions later. Now, I do believe she's bulking up a bit, as she does seem to be a bit more rounder. Now, with Orchid here, she recovers pretty well after laying eggs. So, breeding season is coming up, so hopefully she'll have a nice healthy clutch yet again. And afterwards, she'll bounce back. Typically, she bounces back quite quickly, so I have no worries about her breeding this year. Finally, have made it to our last enclosure of the video. If you stuck around, guys, let me know now in the comments down below. Be interested to see how many of you make it this far. So this is another 127 enclosure that houses my male diamond python named Atrum. Got his newspaper as his bedding. You'll see why in a minute. Water bowl, 2 hides, a couple of branches that he'll perch on, his backing, heat, and UVB. Here is our precious boy. Now he still has that lump on top of his head which cannot be removed again. Now it doesn't seem like he's got any bigger since the last time I've done an update. He's still eating and acting pretty normal. So for now he's okay. It's only when his personality changes or he goes off food or something terribly goes wrong, then we'll start looking at putting him down. But at this stage, he's still all there, he's still eating, he's just dealing with that lump, so that's all we can do. So we're making his life as comfortable as possible, but of course we'll be keeping his health very much in our mind. But anyway guys, thank you all for watching the video. Appreciate it for those who watched to the very end, and I will see you all in the next video.